Well, here's a speed that we can all go. Memorial Day weekend, often considered the kickoff to the summer grilling season, and you might be looking for new techniques as you fire up your grill. Joining us here this morning, Kristina and Greg Gaardbo from Chicago Culinary Kitchen to help us become masters of the grill this holiday weekend. And good morning. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate
You brought some little snacks with you. Look at this.
Some little snacks.
Yeah. We wanted to talk about grilling because I think that as we go into grilling, people sometimes cook things to death. Sometimes people are afraid of grilling. Well, certainly something like this. This is amazing stuff here. We want to talk about grilling steaks because that's such a common thing. What do you think the #1 problem is that people have with steaks?
Overcooking.
Or not starting with a quality product. You can't expect a great outcome if you don't start with something that actually is a great product to start with.
Mm-hmm. How do you look for a great piece of meat? Look at this stuff here.
Well, that's simple. You look for the brand, certified Angus beef, and that will definitely point you in the right direction then.
Okay, where do we want to start as far as what you want to do when it comes to grilling? I know you have some do's and don'ts.
We start out with a great charcoal as well. This is a lump charcoal that we're using. It burns much hotter. So that's really one of the do's is especially have a nice charcoal that we're using.
Okay, so you want good beef and you want to have good charcoal. Sometimes people are afraid of the lump charcoal because it seems like they can't control it like briquettes. They look down and they can see they got X amount of briquettes.
Well, we would have 2 zones then as well. So you would have an indirect zone and you have a safe zone on your grill. So if things start getting too hot or they flare up, you can always move your steak to that side then as well.
How do you know how hot to be? And when you cook, are these actual steaks that you make that are this thick in the restaurant?
Absolutely.
How do you cook that and have it come out correctly?
We do a reverse sear. So we will actually smoke these and get some smoke in them and cook them to about 111 degrees. And then we'll finish them off on actually the char grill. About 60 seconds each side, extremely hot. You can also do this in like your backyard grill if you do the indirect smoking that Greg was talking about a minute ago. Okay,
so you actually smoke it a little bit first. That's a wonderful technique, and the point is that you'd never get something like this cooked in the interior unless you do it that way, right?
Correct. So that's why we get some heat on it to begin with. It takes a little time, and it cooks it all the way through that way, and then we put the char on it afterwards then.
Okay. Now, what do you make with these? I know what do you call these a scorpion?
Go ahead.
That is our scorpion, and this is our Scorpion King, which is actually 3 of the little mini scorpions. This is actually a tomahawk ribeye that we have butterfly cut to make it into the shape of a scorpion. It's our signature steak at our restaurant.
What does that weigh?
This is a 40-ounce tomahawk ribeye.
Oh my gosh.
And this is 120-ounce. So this is basically 7.5 pounds of steak, a little light snack.
Look at that. Look at the size of this thing. So you have to pre-cook that a little bit. Let's talk about it. We talked about some of the things that you want to do. What are some of the things you want to make sure you don't do when you're making a steak?
Overcook it, for one thing. You want to talk about basting and seasoning?
Yeah, so we always want to baste it. We call it like the hot potato. So we're always flipping it. So when we look for grill marks is nothing more than decoration, right? But it really isn't practical because we want that Maillard reaction so that we get a nice crust on here because that's what makes this unctuous. So we're going to keep flipping this back and forth, back and forth. It's not like we put it on 2 times and then we're done with this. That's all restaurant stuff. We want to get a nice, good crust on this.
Now, we don't have too much time left, but you have a seasoning that's here. What kind of seasoning are you using on your steaks?
So we prefer a dry rub. The one that we have here, if you'll notice, it's nice and coarse. We have Maldon sea salt flakes in there. We have coarse ground black pepper. We have garlic salt. And then we have just a little bit of cayenne for some heat.
Looks marvelous. Well, thank you very much for the tips. We
Thank you so
it.
much.
I always, it's always that thing. You cook the steak, it looks great on the outside, and the inside is just raw. But here now you know a technique to kind of pre-cook it, sear it from the inside out, and then
always have a temperature gauge.
That's right. Always use your temperature gauge there. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Kristina and Greg Gaardbo of the Chicago Culinary Kitchen for joining us this morning. We have steak Florentine recipe along with do's and don'ts in grilling on our website. Stop by and take a look at cbschicago.com.